Hello everyone, today I'm excited to introduce you to a brand new series that's incredibly funny, bold, thrilling, and now let's dive into the content. The story begins with the scene of a young man who looks like he's lazy and greedy, but he's actually the protagonist of this story. His name is Hao Xian, and just like his name suggests, he prefers a laid-back life rather than hardships. You might think he's just a useless person sitting at home waiting to die, but you couldn't imagine that he would actually cross over to another world. He's brought into a fantasy world of cultivating immortals, a world where everyone idolizes and admires those cultivating immortals. It's been over 3 years. And every day he sees these immortals flying in the sky fighting battles. Even a ferryman here is a hidden master. When he crossed over, he gained a system like many others, but it's a bit lacking and he doesn't bother paying much attention to it. Not only that, he also has a secret technique hidden in the host's home, but the name of this secret technique sounds a bit off, like it's some kind of joke. It's a mysterious ancestral martial art, and he has no idea what it's used for. On the other hand, he also has another secret on his back, demon wings, and he doesn't understand what's going on here either. As far as he knows, they belong to Western cultivators, so it's strange that he also has a pair. Everything seems to be in place for him, except for one thing, motivation. Lying on the table, he sighs, cultivating immortals is too exhausting. I really don't want to do anything except eat and sleep. But that's not a good solution. If I keep wasting time like this, I'll be punished by the heavens. In his mind, he imagines the scene of the Jade Emperor holding a stool and chasing after him, shouting, "Do you know how much effort it took for me to obtain this opportunity for you? Do you know how many people couldn't obtain it due to unalterable rules?" Feeling uneasy, he realizes he needs to do something about it. First, he decides to do 10 push-ups to regain some motivation. After one push-up, his expression changes. After the second, he's sweating profusely and turning pale, and before he can do the third, he collapses on the ground, feeling defeated. Forget it, let's just accept the consequences. I've tried my best, but I can't do it, he murmurs in resignation. He dreams of a powerful life of cultivating immortals, only for it to end so peacefully. He cries uncontrollably beside his portrait, saying, "Farewell. I pray you go to heaven and never encounter laziness again." Meanwhile, lying on the grassy plain, he thinks, "I thought being a useless person like me would just let life pass by. Cross over for a lifetime only to admire the clouds isn't so bad after all." Who would have thought that besides laziness, humans have another fatal flaw? Suddenly, the system reminds him, there's only 100 days left for the final task. Failure will result in the system immediately killing the host. He panics and shouts, "What is this? There's a deadline now. And what's with this killing?" Immediately after, he's given a surge of motivation and runs like mad. This damn system never mentioned there was a time limit. "I'm going to die soon, so I have to complete the task quickly or I'll really die." He rides a horse like a madman, constantly reminding himself, "I have to complete the task quickly or the system will kill me. I just crossed over here and haven't had enough fun yet. I don't want to die like this." He runs from this hill and crosses endless plains to reach his task point, which lies ahead of Yuntai Mountain, a seemingly ordinary mountain. He props himself up on the ground, panting heavily, and says, "Finally arrived. If it were any farther, my old hips would have snapped in half." Looking ahead, he realizes that the target of his mission is probably that worn-out ball over there. Damn, running for over 3 months for a torn ball. At least I made it in time. He touches the gem, and it immediately lights up. The system appears and announces, "Congratulations on successfully activating the gem. Next, let me introduce you to the heavenly place." The system explains, the heavenly place is contemporary to the era of the Jade Emperor, known as the Golden Age in the history of the heavenly place. Among the 12 martial arts peaks, any chosen one can defeat any leader from other eras in the heavenly place. However, the heavenly place was entirely destroyed in the year 1473 according to the Jade calendar, and all 12 martial arts peaks died in the battle. The mastermind behind the scenes is a group of 9 mysterious figures that unexpectedly appeared from the west. They call themselves the Night Organization, and he is currently in the Jade Calendar year 773, 700 years before the heavenly place was destroyed. His task is to increase the power of the 12 martial arts peaks, to help them surpass themselves and develop into top-notch individuals, to save the common people for the next 700 years. After the introduction, the system also rewards him for completing the first task. An item is given to him, the Great Sage card, a consumable item that can temporarily enhance the user's strength to a level capable of defeating deities. The second task for the host is initiated. The objective is to go to Flower Fruit Mountain and find Sun Wukong in his novice stage, and increase Sun Wukong's potential power by 30%, the system announces. As he witnesses Sun Wukong's image on the system screen, he freezes for 5 seconds. That fierce expression strikes him directly in the eyes. He angrily throws the system to the ground, cursing incessantly, "Are you kidding me? How can you call this the novice stage?" Then, in a fit of rage, he stomps on the system board relentlessly. Is it necessary to move halfway across the map just to watch a video? Can't we do it directly on the system? He exclaims furiously. I seriously suspect that your system is playing tricks on me. Do you know how I've managed to survive for the past 3 months? I've been in this crossover for 3 years, and I've never gone crazy like this before, you damn system. Fortunately, the first task has been postponed for over 3 years, and this task is probably the same, he says with a smirk, trying to ease his frustration. But dreams don't come easy. The system slaps him in the face with a notification, the task completion time is 3 days. Seeing this message, he loses it and shouts, "You damn system. You're a real piece of work, deliberately targeting me, aren't you?" After finishing his tirade, he grabs his belongings and runs like mad because there's no time left to argue with the system. Otherwise, he might end up selling salt and eating naked chicken. After 3 days on the outskirts of Flower Fruit Mountain, a group of people surrounds him. The one being besieged is our Hao Xian, who begs for mercy, saying, "Elders, please speak slowly. Please don't make any sudden moves." Surrounding him are fake cultivating immortals with fierce expressions. The old man leading them is one of the 3 major sect masters, Sect Master Tianmen Lu Yuan, in the late stage of Yuan cultivation. He says, "A mortal like you in this demon mountain, what are you doing here? Speak quickly." Terrified, Hao Xian stammers, "I'm just picking herbs and accidentally wandered into this place. Please forgive me, esteemed elder." Hao Xian thinks to himself, why does this have to happen? The Monkey King hasn't even been found yet, and now a bunch of cultivating immortals has discovered me. This person's appearance doesn't seem very friendly. Then a young woman speaks up, "Just a mortal daring to enter the area full of demons. Don't you know your own limits? Leave quickly." Hearing this, he stands up and retorts, "Yes, yes, little one, get lost immediately." But it's not that easy because the old man then smiles chillingly and says, "Wait a minute, I have a brilliant idea. Why don't we suck all the blood essence from this little guy, then refine it into a blood chi pill? Maybe we can attract 2 more demon beasts." Hearing this, Hao Xian's eyes widen in shock as he says, "What? Why would you suck out my blood essence?" He's sweating profusely as he continues, "Aren't you cultivators supposed to be righteous? How can you do such a thing? Moreover, isn't there a rule in the cultivating immortals world that cultivators are not allowed to harm ordinary people?" Hearing this, they all look dumbfounded, then burst into laughter like madmen, tears streaming down their faces. The old man maintains his terrifying expression and says, "You, little brother, are so naive and cute. There's no such rule here. The big fish eating the small fish is the only rule in the cultivating immortals world." Hearing this response, Hao Xian drops his jaw in disbelief and falls to the ground, stunned. He scrambles to his feet and says frantically, "Don't come near me. I'll have you know I have a secret weapon." Hao Xian quickly takes out the Great Sage card and thinks, there's no other way but to use it now. When I meet the Monkey King, I can think of other ways. After using it, he immediately feels a powerful and overwhelming energy surging through his body, feeling like he's about to explode. The others are baffled, not understanding what's happening. They wonder about the aura emanating from Hao Xian. Meanwhile, Hao Xian, feeling invigorated by the surge of power, thinks to himself, this is the feeling of being strong. It's amazing. He then looks at them with a fierce expression and sharp fangs, saying, come at me, all of you. Don't you want the big fish to eat the small fish? Today, I'll teach you all a lesson you won't forget. But within a second, everything disperses, and he's left confused about what just happened. The sect master witnessing this scene is left speechless. Hao Xian, shocked, thinks to himself, what on earth just happened? Wasn't that too short? Is this too short a time? At this moment, the system also appears and says, congratulations, host. The Great Sage card has been successfully used. Your Great Sage will arrive on the battlefield in 10 minutes. Hearing this windy remark from the system, Hao Xian's face darkens, and he cries bitterly, biting his teeth into his heart. What is this? Why didn't you mention the cooldown time earlier? Isn't this harming my teammates? Oh no, this is a disaster. What do I do now? Then, the old man rushes over and grabs Hao Xian by the collar, interrogating him, tell me, what was that aura just now? Suddenly, there's a voice from behind, hey, little guy without fur, what are you doing? Behind them is a gigantic dragon roaring continuously. However, the focal point is the figure standing in front of it, the real owner. He says, stop staring and listen to me, old man. Along with his words, many other monkey descendants appear, standing on top and wielding swords, looking quite cool. None other than the young Monkey King, Sun Wukong, in his prime. Monkey King then says, lately, you've been lurking in the shadows hunting down my descendants, right? Seeing this scene, the old sect master is terrified, thinking to himself, oh no, what bad luck. Running into the Demon King here. Why did he have to appear now? I only killed a few of his mid-level demon minions. Did he really have to personally come out like this? Going out to relieve some stress and ending up like this. There's no time to seek help from the ancestors anymore. Damn it, the old master gathers his spiritual energy and unleashes it into the sky, forming strange patterns. Then he shouts loudly, why are you all stunned? Stall for time for me. As long as I have time to deploy higher level spells. It'll be fine. Hearing this, the disciples panic and say, oh heavens, even our sect master dares to say that? That's the Demon King. Don't you understand? Hearing the disciples panic, the old sect master's face turns pale with fear. He mutters to himself, what can we do with our low-level spells? They're not even enough to scratch an itch. Prolonging the time for what? It's over. Am I really going to die here today? I haven't even had the chance to experience the scent of a man yet. The old man saw that the group had already lost all courage to fight, so he shouted loudly, enough of your nonsense. As long as my treasure absorbs enough energy, even the Demon King will have to die. Hearing the old man's arrogant words, Monkey King sneered and said, oh, impressive. If you're so confident, then I'll just lie here sunbathing and wait for you. No need to hurry. Prepare your spells well. If they're not strong enough, I can give you more time. The disciples were left speechless by Monkey King's actions, while Hao Xian kept clapping in excitement, thinking, exactly, the longer the better. The reason Hao Xian was excited was that his Great Sage card still had 8 minutes left to activate. Hearing Monkey King's arrogant words, the old man burst into laughter and said, it's all because of what you said. Don't embarrass yourself in front of your monkey descendants. After 5 minutes, the old man's ultimate move became extremely powerful, forming a vortex. Seeing this, Monkey King stood up and said, are you done yet? I've been waiting for ages. Monkey King's gaze at this moment was not excessive confidence but determination. Then the old man's attack directly struck towards Monkey King. Laughing like a maniac, the old man said, "You foolish monkey. Do you think you resemble the dumbest villain in novels? Do you know that this is the true immortal weapon bestowed upon me by the ancestors? Its only weakness is the lengthy activation time." One of the disciples, seeing this scene, exclaimed, "What is an immortal weapon? Is it a divine weapon from the heavenly place? Even I have never seen it before." With this, even the demon king would have to yield. After saying this, the old man exerted more force to deliver a final blow. Bidding farewell to the wretched monkey for their next encounter, a high-level magic circle appeared in the air, launching waves of attacks directed at Monkey King. The old man, thinking he had already won, smiled maniacally with confidence. The disciples behind him were also greatly affected, each of them forced to retreat due to the overwhelming power of this technique. Even Monkey King's descendants were caught in the same situation. The old man stood there shouting, "You wretched monkeys, go and die," as he launched his attack towards Monkey King. However, Monkey King remained standing there as if nothing had happened, with an amused expression on his face, suggesting that perhaps the technique was not as effective as intended. Then a loud explosion shook the area, causing the old man to jump back. Witnessing this, the old man laughed maniacally and shouted, "Haha, turn into dust, you wretched monkey. I told you that once the immortal weapon is activated, you will surely die. How dare you defy me?" Suddenly, a voice interrupted the old man's joy. "Are you celebrating a bit too early, old man?" Startled, the old man turned around to see who was speaking, only to be met with a giant Monkey King as large as a mountain preparing to strike. Terrified, the old man exclaimed, "What's happening? There are no wounds, yet he's becoming gigantic like this." Monkey King responded, "Take a good look. I'll show you what true power looks like." As the words trailed off, the punch was thrown with such force that it pierced through many mountains behind, narrowly missing the old man's face, leaving him frozen in place, too afraid to move. Witnessing this scene, the disciples were horrified and exclaimed, "Oh my God, a single punch just demolished several mountains." With a satisfied look, Monkey King looked down and asked the old man, "Do you still want to continue, little guy?" Seeing the almost absolute power displayed, there was no way to retaliate further. The old man cried out desperately, "The great monkey, unparalleled. Please spare this humble mortal a chance to live." Seeing the old man's intense distress, Monkey King shrunk back and approached Hao Xian with a gaze full of hostility. Bewildering him completely, Hao Xian, sweating profusely and trembling, stammered, "Mr. Big Shot, I didn't come with them." Meanwhile, the system panel nearby continued to announce that the Great Sage card would arrive in 40 seconds. Hao Xian panicked in his thoughts, "Mr. Big Shot, please don't pay attention to me. I'm just a side snack, why would you bother with me?" While he was lost in his thoughts, Monkey King had already swung his fist and said, "Your little guy just gave me an unusual feeling, quite uncomfortable, actually." Seeing this scene, Hao Xian was terrified to the point of desperation and shouted out, "Mr. Big Shot, please wait. I truly came to seek the Great Sage to be my master." Hearing this, Monkey King paused and inquired further. Seizing this opportunity, Hao Xian knelt down and said, "Master, please accept this disciple's bow. Since the age of 3, I've heard the legendary tales of the mighty Monkey King on Flower Fruit Mountain. The greatest dream of every child in our village is to ascend Flower Fruit Mountain and become your disciple. Today, finally, I have the opportunity to fulfill that dream. Please, Master, you must accept me as your disciple. Otherwise, I won't be able to live." Looking at the system panel, which indicated there were only 15 seconds left, Hao Xian felt a sharp pain in his heart. It was only now that he realized how slowly time passed in such situations. He continuously urged in his mind to extend the time a bit longer. Hearing his desperate pleas, Monkey King couldn't help but tease, "Oh, am I really that famous out there? Of course, I wouldn't dare to deceive anyone. If I were to lie, I'd be struck by lightning 5 times, replied Hao Xian, his words filled with anxiety. As soon as Monkey King uttered those words, he turned his face and said, in that case, you're even more deserving of death. With only 3 seconds left in his life, hearing this made Hao Xian terrified to the point of desperation. He kept asking, why would you say that? But Monkey King paid no attention and leaped forward to engage Hao Xian in combat. Because this Monkey King didn't trust humans at all, he also scornfully stated that humans were fundamentally unworthy of being his disciples. A strike from this Monkey King caused a large explosion. After the dust settled, he was curious and suspicious. What just happened? Where did that human go? Isn't that little guy just a mortal? Then, he turned back and was astonished. The scene before him now was a splendid golden armor set. Fortunately, at this critical moment, Hao Xian's great sage card arrived just in time. Now in the peak state of Sun Wukong, Hao Xian exclaimed, truly worthy of being the 12 peak bosses. He glanced down and evaluated his true strength, which was truly terrifying. Witnessing this scene, Monkey King also felt a bit panicked, thinking to himself, what kind of situation is this? Why do I feel so familiar with it? Hao Xian's formidable momentum at this moment was extremely intimidating, causing everyone to feel frightened. He glanced at Monkey King with a cold gaze, which made Monkey King take the situation seriously and think, why is this happening? Why do I feel so familiar? Suddenly, Hao Xian disappeared on the spot, only to reappear directly behind the old sect master. He grabbed a stick and struck the old man several times, saying, you immortal old man, did you want to refine me into a blood-cheap pill? Everything in your life might be correct. But messing with me was a big mistake. As a super revengeful male lead, once he had power in his hands, no one could escape. He grabbed the old man's leg and continuously beat him while cursing, come here and fight, wasn't it you who initially said the big fish eats the little fish? Not only that, he even put the old man in a position for a spanking technique, causing the old man to cry out in pain without the strength to struggle. Hao Xian, filled with resentment, demanded, where is your arrogant strength now? Show it to me. Hearing this, the old man cried and pleaded, Senior, I was wrong, I was wrong. Please spare me. Witnessing this scene, Monkey King was initially bewildered, but then he grinned and said, this is getting interesting. He and his dragon companion emitted a terrifying aura as he said, alright, stop wasting time with that trash. Come play with me, your highness. After his provocation, Hao Xian also turned back to look, but before he could react, a resounding voice echoed, evil monsters dare to cause chaos. Accompanying that voice, a figure appeared in the sky, exuding an immensely powerful aura. Seeing this figure, the old sect master rejoiced and cried out, an immortal. A true immortal. Please save my child, he's being bullied by these malevolent monkeys. The old man laughed and pointed towards Hao Xian and Monkey King, saying, the immortal from the heavenly place has descended. You demonic creatures are surely doomed. The immortal smiled knowingly and said, that's correct. With his imposing demeanor, the immortal confidently said, why haven't you evil monsters bowed down upon seeing the heavenly place? Sitting on the ground, Monkey King retorted, the heavenly place. Just a bunch of featherless creatures. When I have time, I'll go up there and destroy you all. As he finished speaking, he immediately used the golden light binding spell. The immortal, however, didn't dodge or evade, standing confidently for Monkey King to bind him. Looking down with a cold expression, he said, ignorant fool, do you think you have any strength at all? He chuckled and boasted, is this all the strength you have? Let me show you how easily I can break free. After 30 seconds. The binding spell remained intact without any movement, leaving the immortal puzzled about what was happening. He then exerted force to break free, but the reality of being slapped in the face was swift and effective. No matter how much he struggled, it had no effect. He was now horrified, sweating profusely, and exclaimed, what in the world is this? How can the creatures of the lower realm become so powerful? While still trembling with fear and questioning the meaning of life, Monkey King's dragon approached, baring its sharp teeth eagerly. Witnessing this scene, the immortal was so terrified that he sweated profusely and pleaded, "Hey, please don't be so rough. I was just passing by, trying to show off a bit. Please, my brothers, don't overreact like this." With a quick swat, the dragon swallowed him whole, leaving a parting message, "Be careful down there, don't play foolishly like me. You'll meet your end someday." The sect master, shocked by this turn of events, was drenched in sweat as he muttered, "The celestial just vanished like that? Author, did you cut corners a bit too much?" Suddenly, the dragon's eyes changed, and a beam of light descended upon its body. Monkey King, observing this, chuckled and commented, well, looks like it made a breakthrough." Meanwhile, the old sect master lay on the ground in despair, murmuring, "The celestial, did you descend from afar just to give us more experience? It's over now, this time, we're surely doomed." From within the clouds, the initially red dragon had transformed into a different form. With its current appearance, it looked extremely powerful and impressive. The monkey descendants were terrified and exclaimed, "Heavens, it's getting bigger and bigger, like Flower Fruit Mountain." They looked up to the sky and whimpered, "Haha, I didn't expect to evolve into the 12 Dragon Kings. How exhilarating, it feels so good." Then, its eyes suddenly turned fierce as it thought, "Now I am the master. Even that filthy monkey is no longer my match." Before it could finish boasting, a golden cudgel descended from the sky. Witnessing this, it was astonished and asked, "What's this? I was just bragging a moment ago." It sweated profusely and stammered, what's going on?" Before it could recover from its shock, the golden cudgel fell, causing a tremendous explosion. At that moment, a massive crater was formed. The 12-winged dragon met its demise at the age of 765, marking the first death of a dragon in history. Witnessing this scene, the Monkey King and his attendants were instantly petrified on the spot, sharing the same fate. They saw their beloved Flower Fruit Mountain being destroyed. However, one among them had a more practical concern: "Where will we sleep tonight?" Hao Xian chuckled awkwardly and said, "Haha, sorry about that, it's my first time using this golden cudgel. The size is a bit hard to control." Meanwhile, the Monkey King remained fixated on the massive crater before him, his face turning pale with fear as he thought, "Oh my, even if I had another stick, I couldn't handle this." However, his inherent love for challenges never wavered. He turned back with a cold snort and said, "Relying on weapons doesn't make one a true hero. If you have the guts, let's settle it with our own strength." Seeing the Monkey King's confusion, Hao Xian agreed to this solemn proposal. He looked at the Monkey King with utmost confidence and said, "What do you want to compete in? Strength, speed, or endurance? Choose whichever you think you're best at, and I'll accommodate you to the fullest." Upon hearing these mocking words, it became furious and pointed its finger, saying, "I disdain you. You're only showing off because you have a slightly better weapon. So I'll use my worst speed to outdo you." Hearing this boastful talk, Hao Xian glanced over and retorted, "Worst speed? Huh, you foolish monkey." He silently thought, "I am your future, what are you best at that I don't already know?" After the banter, he displayed his formidable aura and said, "At the end of Panglai Island, do you know what is born there? An infinite flower. Do you know?" And upon receiving confirmation, he continued, "Very well, the one who obtains a petal of the infinite flower first wins." As soon as he finished speaking, he swiftly flew off. After gaining momentum in the air, he summoned his somersault cloud. At that moment, a streak of golden clouds passed by, and he grabbed a tuft of it before disappearing from the scene. Before disappearing, it managed to say, "I'll go ahead." The people below witnessing this scene exclaimed, "Such fast speed." The sect master, shocked, exclaimed, "Panglai Island is approximately 1,000,000 miles away." Then he turned around and saw that Hao Xian had also disappeared, startling him, "Oh, that monkey is also gone." Transitioning to Panglai Island, after landing face first, the Monkey King dragged himself up from the ground in frustration and shouted, "You despicable scoundrel, every time you fly, you don't care how you land, do you?" The somersault cloud also formed a disdainful expression towards him. The Monkey King angrily muttered, "Was it intentional? Those darn clouds were obviously intentional." After a while of cursing, it glanced at the infinite flower in front of it, smiling triumphantly because all 28 petals of the infinite flower were still intact. It seemed like victory was assured. After inhaling the fragrance, it returned to its original fighting position. Hao Xian looked up and asked, "Why are you just coming back now? This is not acceptable, being late like this is unacceptable. I've already returned early." It explained, rubbing its swollen face from being knocked down by the somersault cloud in anger, "I just had to deal with some other matters coincidentally. I was afraid of falling, so I chose to fly back on my own." Don't just stand there acting all pleased with yourself. Even if you come back early, it doesn't matter if you didn't get the lotus flower petal, you still lose, Hao Xian remarked with a surprised tone. "Oh, how do you know I haven't retrieved it yet?" Then it presented a lotus flower from the infinite pool, laughing loudly, "That's because I went ahead of you. I've already collected all the lotus flower petals and put them in my bag." The others gasped in amazement, "Wow, it really is the infinite lotus of Panglai Island. You managed to collect them all in just a brief moment of incense burning." The monkeys exclaimed in admiration, "Truly worthy of being the great king, you are so awesome." Hearing the praises, the Monkey King grinned triumphantly, but Hao Xian remained unimpressed and retorted, "What's the big deal? It's just a convenient way to do things." The Monkey King laughed maniacally, thinking it had won. At this point, it kept urging Hao Xian to admit defeat and stop talking nonsense. After hearing this, Hao Xian immediately said, "But there is a reason why I didn't pick the lotus leaf. It's because I didn't expect my body to accelerate so quickly that it caught the attention of celestial beings. To ensure safety, I hurriedly stopped without picking the lotus leaf." Upon hearing this, the Monkey King and the others fell silent on the spot. Then, it laughed so hard that tears streamed down its face and said to Hao Xian, "You're really good at bluffing." Along with that, the monkeys couldn't help but burst into laughter, holding their stomachs. "Huh, why didn't you mention that even the Jade Emperor saw you so scared that you fell down?" they joked. Then the Monkey King pointed straight at Hao Xian's face and said, "If you can really do that, then I'll plant a banana tree growing up to your house in the sky." Hearing this challenge, Hao Xian sneered, but to let it witness this power, he had to comply. He said, "It was already very dangerous just now. Do I have to perform it again?" Then he added, "Look closely, don't close your eyes." After gaining momentum, he shot forward at an incredible speed. A powerful shockwave was created due to his tremendous speed, tearing apart the space where he was. A fierce whirlwind generated by the excessively fast speed also appeared. The whirlwind column was so powerful that it pierced straight through the 9 layers of clouds. Witnessing this scene directly, the people and monkeys were extremely terrified, their mouths gaping wide enough to fit several lizards in. The sky at this moment also displayed unusual signs, with thunderous lightning flashing across the dark clouds, accompanied by an eye opening up, followed by a cluster of divine eyes opening to observe what disturbance had shaken the lower realm. At this moment, the young Monkey King stood frozen in place, looking in that direction and at the strange signs in the sky. His face turned pale with fear as he cursed, "What the hell is that?" Before he could regain his composure, Hao Xian had completed a full circle and returned. After successfully landing, Hao Xian exclaimed in amazement, "Damn, is he for real? Using such tremendous power, is there even any room for doubt? Luckily, I had my eye-covering trick, or I wouldn't have been able to casually reveal my abilities next time. It's too dangerous." In this moment, the young Monkey King experienced a kind of emotion that he had never felt before since his birth, and he realized that this emotion was called disappointment. Its pride was in its speed, but it had been utterly defeated, causing it to lose its self-assured demeanor. At this point, the system also announced, congratulations, host, for helping to increase the potential of Sun Wukong's youth by 5%. The current potential value has reached 15%, revealing to the seniors that Neja will come next. That's all for now. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more. Thank you all for watching the video. Hello everyone, it's me again, specializing in reviewing new and interesting stories, especially comedies. If you find them enjoyable, don't forget to like and subscribe to support me and give me more motivation. And now, let's get into the content. After witnessing the absolute power from him, Monkey King was utterly disappointed and slumped to the ground. This difference seemed like an insurmountable wall, and he said, "Am I just going to lose like this?" But shortly after, he raised his head to the sky and yelled, "I can't lose, I won't accept it." Then he turned and blamed Hao Xian, "You must have cheated. Are you relying on your fancy equipment? Winning without honor is not admirable." Seeing this stubborn refusal to accept defeat, Hao Xian didn't hesitate to respond, "Losing is losing. Why are you making a scene here? Or how about this, I'll lend you my equipment to wear, and then we'll have a rematch. What do you think? How about this, then? I'll lend you my equipment to wear, and then we'll have a rematch. What do you think?" He was startled by the straightforward response. Hao Xian looked smugly at him and taunted, "Well, then you won't have any excuses left to argue, right?" Upon hearing these words, Monkey King became ecstatic and exclaimed, all right, give it to me then. Watch me turn you into a cow dung field right away." But suddenly, Monkey King blushed and sweat poured down his face. He seemed to remember something and reconsidered, No, this won't do." After saying this, Monkey King promptly left, not forgetting to boast, "Let's call it a truce for today. We'll have a rematch another day." Then he signaled for his little brothers to leave. Seeing this arrogant Monkey King, the others were puzzled, but they had some suspicion that Monkey King seemed to be hiding something. The leader wanted to leave, but the followers insisted they stay. They shouted wildly, saying, "Mr. Big Shot, this is a golden opportunity." "That's right, Mr. Big Shot, the one who wants to exchange equipment is definitely not Mr. Big Shot's opponent. We can't just let this pass." Then they burst into tears, hitting the nail on the head. Flower Fruit Mountain has been blown away by him with just one blow. "Mr. Big Shot, you must seek revenge for our livelihoods. Otherwise, how can Mr. Big Shot face the elders under the golden stream?" Hearing these words, Monkey King also felt his warrior blood boiling within him. He turned back with a smug smile and said, all right, I understand, you guys can stop bothering me to death now." Then he looked at Hao Xian and said, "Give me the equipment, I'll exchange it, and then I'll be back." After hearing this again, Hao Xian finally became sure that this guy was problematic. With his personality, he couldn't possibly do such strange things. He then handed over the equipment to Monkey King, who quickly ran far away to change. Monkey King hurriedly changed his clothes, thinking to himself that he had to do it quickly. If he was discovered, he would be in big trouble. But how could he escape Hao Xian's gaze? He stood above, looking down and suppressing his laughter. Monkey King noticed and turned back like a stone statue on the spot. At this point, we can see another shock for this inexperienced young monkey. He was frightened and said, "Oh, I'm dead this time, it's over." Hao Xian couldn't hold back anymore, he just pointed at him and laughed, "What on earth is this, ha." Monkey King, in turn, got angry and chased after him, shouting, "You wretched fellow, come back here. I'm going to kill you." But the moment Monkey King fell silent was when he looked back. He was standing in front of all his little brothers, staring at each other eye to eye. Witnessing their great king like that, they were all stunned, unable to believe their own eyes. On the muscular arms of Monkey King were tattoos of Hello Kitty, frogs, pandas, and 7 colored rabbits, all incredibly adorable. The group of people from the sect master was horrified. Not a single one of them had any color left in their faces upon seeing it. The sect master stuttered, unable to speak properly, What is this? Are these tattoos of a notorious demon king? Oh my, with such a shocking revelation, can we survive and leave this place? At this point, Monkey King seemed to lose his mind and shouted loudly, "What are you laughing at? Do you think I won't punch you all to death? What's so funny? Why can't a demon king have cute tattoos? What's the problem? Damn it, I'll kill you all." Despite his little brother's continuous efforts to restrain him and calm him down, some of them couldn't help but laugh. After a moment of fierce struggle and anger, the scene turned into a tearful one. Monkey King lay on one side, hugging his knees, crying his heart out, murmuring to himself, "Hoo-hoo, why? Why can't a man like cute things? How can I show my face to anyone? Why would they still follow me? They'll laugh at me, the great king." After a while, Monkey King regained his composure. He tried to suppress his embarrassment and said, "No more nonsense. I can't afford to think about this anymore. I need to focus on this battle." Then, he unleashed a terrorizing aura far stronger than before. Because of this, he laughed maniacally and said, "Haha, indeed, the problem lies in the equipment. You'll know my skills this time." He then showed his determination through his eyes. In an instant, he charged at an incredible speed to attack him. Meanwhile, Hao Xian stood there, looking at him like a clown dancing around. He raised his clenched fist without knowing what to say, as he couldn't find a fitting name for this punch. He prepared to unleash his move, unsure of what to call it, so, he named it the Instant Death Fist. Seeing this, Monkey King sneered contemptuously, "Your technique is full of flaws. How could you hope to defeat me with that?" After finished speaking, a blow struck, causing a violent shockwave that shattered the surrounding rocks and earth into tiny fragments. Not only that, it also shook a corner of the continent. But in the blink of an eye, the battle came to an end. The scene now was once filled with fragrant flowers and strange grass, but it quickly turned into a desolate, barren wasteland. Each sensation of suffering enveloped the human, consciousness lost in the universe, faith then to ancient literature, followed by waves of unclear meanings to reality, rational communication, hope for time, slavery then to mastery, burning destiny with hatred, chaotic love binding liberation, deep darkness, stagnation then to freedom. The young Wukong seemed to grasp all truths, but it felt like losing everything. Now he lay at the bottom of a pit, the result of the recent powerful attack, and it was he who had to remain there. Monkey King was bewildered to find himself lying on the ground, his face pale and bloodless. Hao Xian approached and said to him, "You cannot understand, can you? What just happened is called the path of enlightenment, a kind of power of enlightenment." Hearing this from him, Monkey King only now realized the difference. A monkey thirsting for strength always desires to be stronger. He said, "How can I achieve it?" He continued, "Your martial path is too obsessed with perfection. Even if you pursue the most powerful weapons or eternal immortality methods, you have overlooked the truth that your grand path is not yet complete. Only by relinquishing perfection and simultaneously embracing reason and chaos can the true essence of the grand path of enlightenment be born. Then, martial arts will no longer be just simple techniques but an art of high-level enlightenment." These words struck deep into Monkey King's heart. He pondered over each word about the incomplete grand path, and they fiercely penetrated his thoughts. Each shattered piece of his martial heart was breaking apart. Then Monkey King felt as if he were falling into a timeless void. Amidst the fog, he sensed something crumbling within him, and along with it emerged another scene, a large closed door blocking his path. As Monkey King pushed open the door, what met his eyes was something he had never imagined, a new and unfamiliar path. Yet, he sensed his grand purpose existing here. Suddenly, a notification appeared in the system: Wukong's value potential has successfully increased by 30%. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. A monkey thirsting for strength always desires to be stronger. He said, "How can I achieve it?" The reward is a top-tier character experience card. Ah no, it's Naja. Hello everyone, let's continue with the next episode of this story. After completing the system task, it awarded Hao Xian with another top-tier experience card for Neja, which made him very delighted. I never expected that every task reward would be such a top-tier character experience card. It's truly a great joy. Finally, my safety is guaranteed. How lucky. After witnessing Hao Xian's absolute power, Monkey King was also mesmerized. It knelt down and exclaimed, "Great sir, you are my benefactor. Please accept me as your disciple." It bowed low, earnestly pleading to be accepted. Seeing this, Hao Xian reiterated, "Accept you as my disciple. It's not impossible, but you must meet a condition for me to consider it." Hearing this, Monkey King became excited and asked eagerly, "Please tell me, I will fulfill any condition you set." As soon as Monkey King finished speaking, Hao Xian raised his voice to state his condition, with a smirk on his face. The condition was, in the future, you must not have any contact with anything adorable. Do you find my condition too simple? Upon hearing this condition from him, Monkey King turned into stone right on the spot. This shock was not insignificant for Monkey King, who turned pale and sweat profusely. This, what kind of request is this?" Hao Xian sneered at him, teasingly mocking, "As long as you swear not to have contact with anything cute, I will accept you as my disciple immediately. You only have two choices, one is to become a true man, and the other is to choose to be a quirky princess." Faced with this choice, Monkey King found it even harder than battling the Bull Demon King 300 times. Monkey King trembled at this choice because it was incredibly difficult for him. On one side was his innate preference for cute things, and on the other was the pinnacle of martial arts, which he had pursued his entire life. The more Monkey King looked, the more he felt like crying, and he sweated profusely. After a few seconds, he couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, "I'm sorry, master, I can't give it up." Monkey King's rationality couldn't overcome his own heart. Despite his regret, there was no other way because he couldn't change it anymore. He bowed his head in resignation, blaming himself. Monkey King also knew, a strong person should not be fond of quirky things, but I can't resist, I really can't resist, do you understand? Hearing these words from a demon lord, whose name alone made the major sects tremble in fear, now behaving like a child, Hao Xian couldn't help but chuckle at this scene. But then he put his arm around Monkey King and said, "I'm just kidding, you're truly foolish." Hearing him say that, Monkey King couldn't understand, and Hao Xian patted his head, saying, "We have the right to like anything as long as it doesn't harm anyone. Let's go beat up those miserable fools who dared to mock you." When Hao Xian said this, he probably didn't realize that he was the one mocking someone. In the future, if anyone dares to call you quirky, then your master will go with you to beat up that wretched person. Upon hearing these words, Monkey King remained silent, saying nothing. Then Hao Xian walked ahead and said, "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up." Monkey King obediently replied, "Yes," and ran after him. The young monkeys and others from the sect also ran after them, fervently pleading with the master to let them join, but he sternly refused, explaining that the more people there were, the more dangerous it would be. After a while, Hao Xian pondered, "It's true, I have to say it again. What exactly has happened in this world? Monkey King's attendant is clearly a Western creature, as is the sect master's magic, yet the locals don't seem to find anything strange about it. It's like they're used to it. Doesn't that mean that Western secret organizations will unexpectedly invade after 700 years? So what's happening now?" Lost in thought, the system suddenly appeared, startling him. Hao Xian jumped and cursed, "Oh my god, can't you stop appearing out of nowhere like this? My heart can't handle sudden shocks like this, you know." The system appeared to assign a new task to him. The third mission is unlocked, and the main content is to find the young martial goddess, mysterious lady, and increase potential by 30%. Upon hearing the task, Hao Xian solemnly remarked, "The first martial goddess in history, mysterious lady." Their reputations are indeed terrifying. The scene shifted to the palace of the Kingdom of Women, where various restrictive magic formations were scattered everywhere. Inside, a shadow was bound by chains and unable to move. This figure was the evil demon king, surrounded and sealed by powerful beings. He looked up and smirked wickedly, as expected of a king of a nation. You are not on the same level as those little sects and schools. The redhead with formidable aura was none other than the queen of the kingdom of women, Zhang Lian. She continued, after 3 days of hard battle, we finally captured your demon king. There's no need to struggle anymore, you won't escape. The demon's head twisted into a sinister form resembling a dragon's head. Then she continued, even if you turn into a pile of bones, there's no escape. Once the celestial formation takes shape, the entire cultivating immortals world will have no one capable of unraveling it. I'm confident in this. The demon king laughed loudly, the strongest formation on the continent. Indeed, it's not just a reputation, but what if I told you that I have truly mastered the power of the realm? Hearing this, she was startled and asked, what? Suddenly, a strange spatial vortex appeared under her feet, and she tried to escape but couldn't. After a while, she found herself in another space as dark as ink. The voice of the demon king echoed, impressive, isn't it? This is the power of my realm, the realm of power. Here, I am divine, the ruler of all existence. And you can only submit to my arrangement. After speaking, the demon king laughed maniacally and declared, you've lost. From today onwards, the entire kingdom of women will be my plaything. Of course, you'll be there too, the demon king added, switching scenes to 7 days later, on the outskirts of the kingdom of women. After some traveling, he was now nearing the destination. Although his disciple was only a few steps away, he was forced to postpone his arrival for another day. Monkey King was currently hiding behind a small rock and asked, does Master really want to transform into this form? Excitedly, Hao Xian replied, have you transformed yet? Hurry up so that Master can see. Monkey King then transformed into a cute and tiny form, but felt embarrassed, saying, I like cute things, but isn't this a bit too much? Blushing, it covered its face and exclaimed. Oh my, this is so embarrassing. Hao Xian looked at it and reassured, embarrassed about what? Didn't I tell you? This is part of your cultivation. You'll understand later. After saying that, he hugged Monkey King affectionately and said, have I ever harmed you? You should trust your master. However, deep down, he had dark thoughts. He did this to bring along a spiritual creature, which would reduce the chances of encountering strong enemies by 50%. But he was unaware that behind the rock, someone was stealthily watching him, with a dangerously sly smile on their face. At this moment, 2 figures approached from behind the rock. One was large and appeared extremely fierce, while the other was small and held a pipe, chuckling cunningly as he spoke, gentlemen, you have quite unfamiliar faces. You must be new travelers here, right? Then he rubbed his hands together and laughed heartily, looking at Hao Xian and joking, after traveling a long distance, you must be quite tired, aren't you? Therefore, you also need a place to rest. Let me introduce you to countless lively entertainments to relieve your worries, gentlemen. Hearing these absurd words, Hao Xian stood there bewildered, feeling like his mind was still stuck on a 2G network, unable to catch up with the frequency. He couldn't help but think of Zhengzhou, where the elders gathered to indulge in revelry, sweating profusely. Those were the places that felt like heaven when you entered but felt like ascending to heaven when you left. Hao Xian struggled to control his emotions while silently thinking, Hao Xian, what are you thinking? You shouldn't bring your earthly debauchery thoughts to this simple cultivating immortals world. This is a different realm, how could such places exist here? I must have made a mistake. Lost in his thoughts, suddenly the other person approached Hao Xian quickly and enticed, all are young beauties, and all 69 positions have reached the ultimate realm. Hearing this, Hao Xian was left speechless and frozen in place, resembling a naive child with the perplexed expression of Emperor Takuta, but then he jumped up and refused, no, I'm still a teenager. Do you guys know that? I'm not married yet. And I don't want the government to support me. Places like that will get you arrested by the police." Seeing Hao Xian's rejection, the other person sneered coldly, then continued to entice. "Objective, I really don't want to hide anything from you, but I'll let you in on a thrilling truth. The kingdom of women has been captured by our Mr. Bigshot. You can choose any beauty in the entire city." Upon hearing this, Hao Xian became puzzled and turned to show interest. Then, he pulled out a golden-colored pearl and continued to boast, "If I don't show you, you won't believe it. Take a look at this." Inside the pearl appeared images of beautiful girls with seductive figures, and he looked at Hao Xian, saying, "These are all top-notch beauties from the kingdom of women. What do you think? Are you stimulated enough?" Hao Xian was stunned by the scene, his face turning pale. Then, he heard him say, "If you feel like you need more excitement, you can continue to stimulate yourself a bit more, as we also have some expertise in this area. Just because you haven't thought about it doesn't mean we can't do it." Hearing the despicable words of these despicable individuals, Monkey King angrily retorted, "Are you all tired of living, you beasts?" After he finished speak, Monkey King punched him, sending him flying with a shattered face. The frightened individual stuttered, "You. What are you planning to do? Don't come any closer." Monkey King, raging with anger, retorted, "What am I going to do? Of course, I'm going to teach you a lesson." Hao Xian, noticing the escalating situation, intervened, "That's enough, we have other things to attend to." Monkey King was taken aback when his master suddenly stopped him from attacking the despicable person, looking at him with confusion. Suddenly, Hao Xian grinned and grabbed Monkey King's robe, then addressed the other person, "Sorry about this, my disciple doesn't quite understand manners, so he's gotten himself into trouble." With that, he swiftly pulled Monkey King away, saying, "No need to make any appointments. Farewell." The two individuals watched as Hao Xian and Monkey King vanished into the distance, then sat down to discuss among themselves, calculating their next move. "Is it really that easy to let them go?" one of them questioned. The other, with anger in his eyes, replied, "Let them go. Cowards like them are not the ones we're looking for." After running for a while, Hao Xian arrived at a certain place, with Monkey King following angrily behind him, still simmering with frustration. It was muttering to itself, "Why is my master such a coward?" Hao Xian noticed Monkey King's demeanor and turned to ask, "What's wrong? Are you angry because I didn't say anything and just ran away?" Ignoring him, Monkey King turned away and said, "I don't know." Seeing this, Hao Xian explained, "If what that guy, Mr. Bigshot, said is true, and they've taken over the entire kingdom of women, why would they need to discreetly lure customers in such remote wilderness? It feels like they're spreading information within a small scope, waiting for someone to take the bait they've carefully laid out." Hearing this, Monkey King was stunned and thought to itself, "Oh no, am I really that naive? But is it really like that? I'm just a young monkey, why would I think so much?" At this moment, Hao Xian, with an angry expression, said, "The kingdom of women is probably just bait for these people. I'm sure they have bigger plans. But no matter what, these scumbags must be dealt with thoroughly. Currently, only 2 of them have appeared, but who knows if there are more in this multi-level marketing scam group. So, we can't stir up trouble recklessly. That's why I hurriedly ran away, you understand?" Hearing this, Monkey King felt enlightened and immediately knelt down, bowing its head, and said, "I was wrong, master. I misunderstood you as the most cowardly of rabbits, fearing death the most. I wrongly assumed that your previous strength was just a transient illusion." Monkey King's words didn't carry the weight of a holy sword, but each word pierced Hao Xian's dark heart unintentionally, causing continuous emotional damage. Hao Xian chuckled falsely, saying, "How could that be? Master couldn't be like that." But deep down, Hao Xian had indeed fled instinctively earlier, only realizing the problem later and relying on his immense intelligence to change course. After resolving the issue with the bloodthirsty disciple, he said, "All right, no more wasting time. We have to sneak into the city and catch them off guard." Monkey King nodded vigorously, saying, "We'll all follow Master's lead." while the master and disciple were still engrossed in their conversation, suddenly someone appeared behind Hao Xian and said, "Hey, you two perverts over there, where do you think you're going?" Startled by the sudden voice, Hao Xian turned around, and the woman's gaze was filled with disdain and disgust, as if she wanted to devour them alive. She continued, "Your companions have been killed by me. Where do you think you're going?" Hao Xian also noticed that the two figures she held in her hand were the same ones from earlier. But how could she shrink them like that? At that moment, the system also notified that she was the mysterious lady, the target of Hao Xian's mission this time. After hearing this shocking news, he was surprised and broke out in a cold sweat. Damn, is she really the one? But why is she? At this point, she glared at Hao Xian, her anger palpable. You treat women as toys. You scum have completely reached my lady's limits. As soon as she finished speaking, she brandished her sword and attacked Hao Xian. He panicked and exclaimed, "Miss, could you at least listen to my explanation first before attacking?" Hao Xian was trembling with fear, feeling like he was about to wet his pants, but Monkey King, driven by his martial prowess and hot temper, retorted, "Master, why explain to her?" It was precisely because of his hot-headedness that he had managed to survive until now. With his blood boiling, he charged at the mysterious lady, ready to brawl, while taunting her, "If you're so good, then come at me," and that's the end of the story for now. See you in the next episode. Hello everyone, welcome to the next 2 episodes of this series. At this moment, both of them lunged at each other, with the Monkey King preparing his stance with his powerful fist, but unfortunately, before the Monkey King could strike, the mysterious lady hit him with a sword, splitting it into many pieces. However, there was something strange about its body, as it didn't feel anything when struck. The mysterious lady noticed and turned around, saying, "It's not real, just a decoy." At this point, the Monkey King suddenly appeared from another side, saying, "Your reaction is good, girl, but unfortunately, it's too late." As he finished speaking, he unleashed a powerful blow, causing a large area of earth and rocks to crack. After that attack, the mysterious lady lay in the pit created by the Monkey King's assault, and the battle seemed to have ended at this point. However, with her strong willpower, she refused to collapse, still able to move and stand up. The Monkey King chuckled in surprise, saying, "You faced my blow head-on and can still move? Then, the next move from me will be..." Before he could finish his sentence, he received a blow that twisted his face, making his teeth want to fly out. After being continuously slashed by the mysterious lady like cutting bananas, the Monkey King spat blood and thought to himself, "Damn, she strikes so fast and unexpectedly. How could she hit us like that? Her speed is incredible." After enduring that onslaught of attacks, the Monkey King fell to the ground, causing a small tremor. He lay on the ground while the mysterious lady remained focused without any sign of distraction. As the Monkey King got up, he looked straight at her, and she also stared back, remaining vigilant. Even Hao Xian was astonished and terrified, saying, "This woman is strong. She managed to injure Wukong like this within 2 rounds. Witnessing this scene, he couldn't stop sweating. Trying to calm himself down by touching his forehead and reassuring himself, stay calm, stay calm. It's not the right time to use the peak experience card." After calming down, Hao Xian rushed back to Wukong and asked, "Wukong, are you okay? Are you alright?" His eyes were determined, filled with a strong fighting spirit. Wukong, not underestimating his opponent, replied, "This woman is incredibly strong. In the past, it would have been difficult to defeat her. But today, I have been taught the inner state by my master. The disciple is sure to win." Upon hearing this, Hao Xian froze for 5 seconds, unable to believe what he had just heard. His eyes widened, and he stuttered, "What? What do you mean? Are you saying you've understood the power of inner state cultivated energy?" Wukong looked confidently at him and replied, "Yes, master." Hearing this, Hao Xian turned into stone, refusing to believe it. How could that be possible? This is absolutely absurd. Seeing that his master didn't believe him, Wukong clarified firmly, I'm telling the truth, master. While I may not have the same abilities as you, I can definitely display them without any problems. If you don't believe me, you can observe carefully. Then, he tensed his entire body and shouted. The Great Way is not flawless. Understanding chaos means accepting disorder. At this moment, a tremendously powerful aura emanated from him, even causing the mysterious lady to be astonished. She widened her eyes, looking in fear at the inexplicable aura surrounding Wukong, and asked herself in panic, what's happening? What is this strange aura? At that moment, Wukong clasped his hands together to integrate the chaos. The two streams of red and black energy merged with such force that the entire ground trembled and cracked. After a while, Wukong successfully merged the two forces to create a small sphere. Hao Xian, witnessing this scene, gasped and exclaimed loudly, my goodness, it's the power of the cultivated energy Great Way. This young man has learned it just by glimpsing at it. This enlightenment is too disobedient to heaven. Will there be any room left for others to live? The mysterious lady, seeing this, also broke out in a cold sweat before this overwhelming power. Deep within, she was oscillating, thinking, this isn't good. This feeling is absolutely not good at all. The small glowing sphere made the mysterious lady feel a sensation she had never experienced before, an oppressive and terrifying feeling. She quickly regained her composure and thought, I must respond with all my strength immediately, or else I will surely die. Activating her space summoning ring, she summoned 8 flying swords to surround her. Afterward, the mysterious lady immediately prepared to launch the demonic technique sword technique. The two extremely powerful energies clashed violently. Hao Xian was surprised to see her display this demeanor and remarked, this oppressive power seems quite ordinary, but it's no less than the power of the inner state cultivated energy. Wukong noticed the issue and shouted loudly, no, that's not her own oppression. It's the oppression of those new swords. Each sword is a genuine divine weapon in legend. Wukong cursed angrily, damn it, I thought I had understood her strength already. He looked at the countless divine weapons in her possession, while he had been searching for a single divine weapon for years. However, he didn't feel ashamed because his current support was his master. Wukong was now extremely eager for battle, gritting his teeth and saying, her strength is still unworthy before the might my master taught me. Wukong shouted loudly, come at me. Suddenly, Wukong became motionless and felt something very unusual. The power of the cultivated energy Great Way was in chaos, and his whole body felt like it was about to explode. With his eyes wide open, he said, this is dangerous. I can't control it anymore. Afterward, there was a terrifyingly large explosion that shook the entire area. Wukong fell down, cursing, damn it, just a little more. Seeing this, Hao Xian rushed over to ask Wukong, what's wrong? Are you okay? Even though he had no strength left, Wukong tried to reassure, Master, I'm fine. It's just that my body temporarily can't move. The power of the inner state is too strong, and I couldn't control it, so it backfired. Hao Xian breathed a sigh of relief and said, it's okay. With a few more practices, you'll surely master it. As long as you're okay. At this moment, the mysterious lady suddenly spoke, saying, I never expected that the subordinates of the great demon lord would have such power. Startled by her words, Hao Xian jumped in fright, his heart pounding. The mysterious lady looked at him with an icy gaze and said, I have underestimated the enemy. Seeing this scene, Hao Xian was so scared that he almost wet his pants. He raised his hand and said, wait a moment, lady, you've misunderstood. We are not the subordinates of any demon lord as you said. Please calm down, can you? Hearing this, Wukong lying on the ground immediately shouted loudly, Master, don't waste your words on her anymore. Just go ahead and give her a beating. Upon hearing these words, Hao Xian immediately kicked him in the face. Hit your own head, you rotten monkey. Every day, all you know is fighting and killing. Use your brain for once, he cursed out of frustration, though in reality, Hao Xian was trembling with fear. He was choosing his words carefully, as the little girl holding the sword on the tree nearby seemed ready to strike at any moment, because his peak card had a cooldown time, requiring another 10 minutes to reactivate after use. Wukong's current strategy had temporarily lost its effectiveness. He had to win over this mysterious lady first and then take action when the opportunity arose. Hao Xian looked up at the fierce and bloodthirsty woman and said, "Lady, we are also righteous people just like you. We came to the kingdom of women to save people. Surely you had the same intention, right?" The woman didn't hesitate to respond, "Of course." But then she changed her expression and looked at him, saying, "You say you're not allies with them, but where's the evidence?" Hearing this question, Hao Xian's face darkened. He didn't have any evidence to give her. Hao Xian continued, "I trust that a beautiful and majestic lady like yourself wouldn't commit such ridiculous suspicions against us, would you? Your grand demeanor shines like a star in the sky. I sensed that the moment I laid eyes on you. A person of your stature must surely have compassion for the world and wouldn't harm innocent people, right?" By reaching this crucial point, Hao Xian had deeply affected her, leaving mysterious lady in a state of confusion. She hesitantly replied, "Of course, it goes without saying. I always prefer to release the wrongdoer rather than kill an innocent person." Then she added, "But without evidence, it's not quite reasonable for me to let you go." Upon hearing this, Hao Xian stepped forward to intervene, "Lady, don't panic. We have a solution." He stood there gesturing dramatically and confidently said, "Instead of that, why don't we all enter the city together? If there's any suspicion, you can just kill us directly, right?" Facing this unexpected, the lady fell into contemplation for a moment. Sensing her lack of life experience, mysterious lady found herself unwittingly led by Hao Xian's manipulation. Scratching her head, she thought that perhaps this solution wasn't so bad after all. With this thought in mind, she no longer cared much and simply turned around to leave, saying, "All right then, let's proceed. We shouldn't delay any longer. Follow me." After Hao Xian's successful maneuver, he managed to survive. Just then, mysterious lady turned back and said, "That's right, I'm used to going back and forth alone. I don't like outsiders approaching me, so please stay more than 2 zhang away from me." As she finished speaking, Hao Xian approached her again and patted her on the shoulder, saying, "Don't be so cold. We're all on the same path. If we're comrades, we should stick together, right?" Seeing his hand touching her, mysterious lady's expression darkened. She swiftly swung her sword to create distance. Luckily Hao Xian evaded in time. His hand retreated quickly, and he sweated profusely, terrified by the sight of the menacing sword. If a mortal like him were hit, it would undoubtedly be a disaster. So Hao Xian made a wise decision. He followed the advice to turn back while there was still time. He walked straight ahead without daring to turn back, saying, all right, we're more than 2 zhang away now." It was fortunate that he made the right choice, because with that sword and those deadly eyes, one misstep and he would have been done for. At this point, the two were heading towards the kingdom of women, but they had to stay 2 zhang apart as of this moment. Wukong observed for a while and immediately recognized this arrogant demeanor along with the abundance of divine weapons. She must be the legendary demon sword maiden. Hao Xian, hearing this, was puzzled. Demon sword? Seeing that he knew nothing, Wukong was quite surprised and said, "Demon sword Lin Huang, master. Haven't you heard of it before?" Seeing Wukong's excitement, Hao Xian also asked in confusion, "Who is that? Is it worth your seriousness?" Wukong recounted, "Demon sword Lin Huang is one of the top figures in the contemporary martial arts ranking, and also the only known member of the mysterious Sakya organization." He then asked, "The heavenly place, martial arts ranking, and Sakya, what are they?" Wukong replied, "I'm not entirely sure about this either. Probably the most formidable figure in the heavenly place." Hao Xian pondered, "That can't be right. Someone of that rank must have encountered inner state cultivated energy before, but she seemed unfamiliar just now. Wukong shook his head in uncertainty. Then he called out loudly, "Lady, it's not wise to keep your distance like this." In his heart, he knew he needed some intelligence first. He continued, "Later, we won't be fighting side by side anymore. We'll have to negotiate strategies. How can we talk if we're so far apart?" The mysterious lady turned back coldly, saying, "I don't need anyone by my side." Hao Xian was surprised by this response. "What do you mean? Isn't it better to fight together?" Wukong added, "A little more rest and I'll be ready to fight again." But she remained adamant. "I don't need it. I can handle it on my own." Upon hearing these words, Wukong and Hao Xian were both taken aback. Wukong, enraged, shouted insults, "You crazy brat, acting so recklessly at such a young age. What makes you think you can handle everything on your own? Do you believe my master won't give you a good beating?" Seeing his disciple's fiery temper, Hao Xian hurriedly covered his mouth, realizing that if she turned hostile, they would be in deep trouble. Looking at the mysterious lady's retreating figure, she added, "I don't even expect to win. If I lose and die, it'll be your turn to take action. But even then, I won't need your help." These words left Hao Xian with a sense of melancholy as he watched her lonely figure walking into the sunset with a hint of sadness. For some reason, Hao Xian felt a sense of emptiness and remained silent for a while. Eventually, he saw the fortress ahead. Facing the group of people, he noticed a large gate emitting a chilling aura. Hao Xian thought to himself, "I wonder what lies beyond this gate." At that moment, the mysterious lady turned back and reiterated, "I remind you once again that I don't need anyone interfering with my affairs." Seeing her fierce demeanor, Hao Xian chuckled and quickly assured her, "Understood, understood. I promise not to interfere. I much prefer enjoying the show safely from the sidelines." With that said, the mysterious lady pushed open the door and walked in, her gaze darkening as if witnessing something she detested. Ahead of the group was a centipede with many red eyes, sucking life force from everywhere. It grinned upon seeing the newcomers, taunting, "More fools have come here again." Seeing this, Hao Xian broke into a cold sweat, realizing, "Oh no, the demon lord level, Wukong can't guarantee his safety now. I need to come up with a plan for mysterious lady to both fight and protect herself." Wukong, infuriated by the sight of the demonic centipede, expressed his anger, "Can't we just kick these bugs out of the demon tribe? They're disgusting." Immediately after, the mysterious lady rushed towards the centipede to engage in combat. Seeing this, Hao Xian panicked and tried to stop her. "Wait, senior sister, don't rush in like that. I haven't figured out a plan yet. If the demon lord attacked their rear, what would happen?" The demonic centipede was not weak either and retaliated with its own attack, preparing to unleash a powerful onslaught. A barrage of demonic energy bullets rained down, but the mysterious lady didn't flinch. She enveloped her body with her own spirit energy and charged straight ahead. The continuous explosions caused by the barrage of demonic energy had left deep holes in the city walls from its previous assault. The centipede, fierce and malicious, taunted, "You ugly humans, you're just one of many who are about to die by my hands." But before it could finish, it was met with the intense gaze of the mysterious lady. A streak of violet light shot out from her, piercing through the centipede at lightning speed. What followed were swift, agile maneuvers, each strike piercing through the centipede's body, rendering it into pieces. The mysterious lady had vanquished the demonic centipede and landed gracefully on the ground. Watching from afar, Hao Xian was astounded by the sight. He exclaimed, "Just one strike and the demon lord is gone." Suddenly, applause echoed from above, accompanied by a voice saying, "Well done, well done. Pity it had to end." The words immediately caught the attention of Hao Xian's group. A figure emanating a fiery red aura spoke, "My dearest and most cherished little pet has been slain by just one of your strikes. Truly befitting of the bloodline of the demon sword, with such a menacing demeanor, he must be the ultimate boss here." The mysterious lady was also surprised that he knew about her father. He chuckled sinisterly and said, "Not only are we acquainted, but we are also sworn enemies." Unable to defeat the old man, the little one takes out his sword to strike. "Doesn't that make me quite pitiful, haha." Then he let out a loud roar and displayed his prowess in the field of cultivated energy. Witnessing this scene, the mysterious lady, Wukong, and even Hao Xian were shaken. Hao Xian observed solemnly, recognizing it as inner state cultivated energy. He couldn't believe that this guy possessed such inner state. The story ends here. See you in the next episode. Hello everyone, today I will review the latest episode of this series for you guys. After breaking free into the realm of inner state, this demon king is very pleased with himself. He doesn't hesitate to boast to mysterious lady, "Let me tell you, in this realm, I am an unrivaled existence. Just a flick of my finger is enough to take your life." Then he unleashes streams of dark red energy with malicious intent. Because his attack came so suddenly, mysterious lady hasn't had a chance to calm down after seeing his realm like Wukong's. She is now entangled in these energy streams and finds it difficult to break free. He continues to taunt arrogantly, "Immortal, and now a wounded demon king. You dare to bring a chaotic group like this to attack me? In this situation, no one can save you," he says mockingly, laughing loudly with a mocking expression in tone. As soon as he finished speaking, mysterious lady retorted, "I don't need anyone else to save me. I, alone, have fought across the land without ever seeking anyone's help." As she spoke, she also didn't forget to perform several hand seals. The pink-colored spiritual energy on her hands formed into a vortex, but if you look closely, there are spots of light in the crimson sky, resembling bright stars in the sky. But no, my friends, it's daytime, so where did the moon and stars come from? Those lights are the divine swords summoned by mysterious lady. Each sword is imbued with extreme sharpness, constantly pressuring the opponent. Not stopping there, she cleverly arranges them into a mysterious heavenly sword battle. Swords surrounding this place in a circle, sometimes visible and sometimes hidden, interconnected. Then mysterious lady's eyes gleamed brightly, releasing a powerful aura that broke the restraint. Seeing this, the demon king exclaimed in horror, "How is this possible? You are in my realm." He was so shaken that he couldn't close his mouth. Mysterious lady looked coldly at him and said, "There is no absolute supremacy in this world. You are delusional. It's just greater strength. If I were stronger than you, I could twist you with a flick. Your claim of absolute supremacy is laughable. However, all of my sword formations created by divine weapons are enough to fight you. Compared to that monkey, your strength is full of weaknesses and deficiencies. There's nothing to be proud of and boast about." Wukong, upon hearing himself mentioned and praised, couldn't help but feel quite pleased even if he was being scolded. Wukong's unmistakable smug expression was evident, as he smirked and said, "Of course, how can anyone compare to my master?" As soon as he finished speaking, Hao Xian panicked and angrily covered his mouth. "Oh my, you shut your mouth for me. If he hears you and comes to attack us, we're all dead, you little troublemaker." Hearing such disdainful words filled with contempt, the Wukong became infuriated, his anger rising like Son Goku. Emanating an overwhelming aura, at the same time, the Demon King unleashed his ultimate technique, the ancient demon art of endless heads, creating numerous ferocious dragon heads hovering menacingly in the air, seemingly awaiting the Demon King's command before attacking Mysterious Lady. On the other side, seeing the continuous creation of dragon heads, Mysterious Lady remarked, "What's the use of quantity if there's no quality?" As soon as she finished speaking, she stood up straight, holding her sword upright, pointing straight up into the sky, initiating the elegant feathers dance sword technique. Then, both sides unleashed their ultimate techniques towards each other, one side with cherry blossom petals filling the sky, the other with dragon heads wriggling in horror. The collision of the two attacks created an extremely powerful clash, with continuous explosions occurring and dust and debris filling the air. Although Hao Xian stood at a distance, he was still affected by the battle, having to adopt a defensive stance as if blocking incoming shockwaves. However, it was just a pretense to block the dust from getting into his eyes. Just to spectate. He silently exclaimed, both sides are very strong, but he also didn't forget to ask, is Wukong recovered yet? This was the crucial point because the lifeline charm depended on it. Wukong also replied alertly, not yet, master. Hearing this, Hao Xian became extremely worried, silently cursing, damn it, if the kid hasn't recovered, who will protect me? For safety's sake, I probably have to activate the trump card. After activating the system, it also announced, your Neja card has been activated. Within the next 5 minutes, your peak strategic hack will be activated. Seeing that this time there were only 5 minutes, Hao Xian was extremely pleased, rejoicing because the time had been cut in half. He silently wondered, could it be that every time a mission is completed, the system will evolve and shorten the time? Meanwhile, in the intense battle between the two, the dragon heads in the sky were still present and preparing to attack. Mysterious Lady took advantage of the opportunity to counterattack, saying, so many vulnerabilities, huh? Then she unleashed her technique, slashing like cutting bananas. Seeing Mysterious Lady busy fighting off the dragon heads, the Demon Lord seized the opportunity to gather new energy for a new ultimate move, boasting that he would give her a new grand gift. He was creating a larger dragon head, equivalent to a house, but Mysterious Lady quickly dealt with the smaller dragon heads and approached the Demon Lord. Though just a young woman, her momentum was no less than that of a warrior. Mysterious Lady stood still, gathering her spirit energy onto her divine sword. With her classic line, quantity has no effect on me. Now that there's only one left, I cannot afford to lose. Her icy gaze, combined with the sword weapon like mist, made others shiver even without the cold. Mysterious Lady shouted, divine weapon Tian Mu King. A colossal divine sword materialized from above, descending like a ban on the Demon Lord's dragon head. Compared to the Demon Lord's dragon head, this divine sword was immense. The Demon Lord was extremely surprised to see this scene, staring intently at Mysterious Lady's grand technique. Filled with fear, watching from afar, the two disciples marveled, exclaiming, wow, it's truly no less than the golden cudgel. Wukong remarked that it was indeed impressive, as it was also a divine weapon. Mysterious Lady struck down with a demon sword named Huang Lu, causing the giant sword to fall due to her intent. A massive explosion ensued. Sending rocks flying like in a movie, the Demon Lord, engulfed in the battle, grew increasingly terrified. Despite attempting to block Mysterious Lady's onslaught, his body began to bear numerous wounds. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't withstand this powerful technique. Eventually, he then lay down in a large hole created by the aftershock. The Demon Lord, resilient like a cockroach, crawled up and shouted defiantly, damn it, it's not over yet, don't get too cocky. At this moment, Mysterious Lady pointed her sword at the Demon Lord with a cold, menacing gaze and said, look into my eyes. Then, a purple star-shaped pattern emerged from within Mysterious Lady's eyes. Suddenly, the Demon Lord fell into an abnormal state upon gazing into them. In an instant, he was ensnared in an illusion within Mysterious Lady's eyes, bound and shackled by thousands of swords raining down from all directions. Iron chains restrained him like a dangerous convict. On this side, Mysterious Lady carried a blazing red gaze along with the sword perched atop the dragon head. At this moment, she resembled nothing short of a true demon sword, thirsting for bloodshed. After a while, Mysterious Lady began to speak, if we're talking about absolute dominance, then my sorcery may be more accurate with this title. A second here is equivalent to a day outside, and the mental pressure you endure is 100-fold. In the Demon Lord's eyes, there was also a star-shaped pattern, as he had fallen under Mysterious Lady's sorcery. 10 seconds later, he lay motionless on the ground, devoid of any movement. His demeanor now appeared weary, undoubtedly due to enduring the mental torment inflicted by the formidable sorcery displayed by Mysterious Lady. After a while, Mysterious Lady dispelled the sorcery, causing everything to gradually dissipate. Witnessing this scene, Hao Xian was utterly bewildered, unable to comprehend what was unfolding before his eyes. He was struck with shock, feeling as though the enemy had just lost their will to fight. Wukong, though also puzzled, had a bit more insight than our protagonist. It seemed to recognize this as the rumored bloodline technique. Thinking about it, Wukong was horrified, recalling a terrifying incident. It was said that only the highest echelons of the clan possessed such twisted abilities. Indeed, there was no mistaking it, those eyes of hers were the epitome of demonic ferocity. She approached the defeated Demon King and declared, "You have lost. Your current state is no longer a match for me." Hearing this, he looked up and replied, as expected of the daughter of the demon sword. "I had already foreseen that I would not be your match." As soon as he finished speaking, he laughed maniacally with excitement. "But have you ever wondered why I repeatedly choose to intervene with you in the kingdom of women?" The words sent a chill down Mysterious Lady's spine. The Demon King didn't give her a chance to respond. He raised his hand to the sky and shouted loudly, "My scheme is to lure you into the kingdom of women, because within the walls, there will be a divine battle formation. You truly are foolish to the extreme, haha." While he laughed, he also activated the divine battle formation of the kingdom of women. A swirling vortex of crimson spirit energy enveloped Mysterious Lady forcefully, and beneath her feet, a large divine battle formation emerged clearly on the ground. Simultaneously, a divine battle formation for national defense was also activated, covering the entire kingdom of women with its imposing aura, no different from the scene of her previous life's demise. The activation of the divine battle formation coincided with Mysterious Lady bearing the weighty pressure upon her body. She crumpled to the ground, overwhelmed and terrified. With each passing second, Mysterious Lady was increasingly crushed by the pressure, unable to resist any longer. Sensing the tide's turn, the Demon King smirked triumphantly. "You never thought about it, did you? The kingdom of women has been a lure from the beginning, and every action they've taken was to trap you in this grand battle. Having to resort to the strength of an entire nation to suppress you means even the successor of the demon sword can do nothing but kneel and endure, but it wasn't going to be that easy. The woman destined to become the martial deity of her people, the Mysterious Lady, couldn't accept such weakness. With a fierce will and overwhelming rage, she erupted with a terrifying aura that shattered the shackles and the oppressive pressure of the grand battle. Though sweat poured down her face, her eyes blazed with determination and fury as she retorted, "You've underestimated me." With those words, the Mysterious Lady unleashed her ultimate technique, the Heavenly Defender Sword King, a divine general adorned with dazzling golden arms, each wielding a formidable sword. From afar, Hao Xian witnessed this breathtaking spectacle, overwhelmed with fear and awe. Both master and disciple were amazed by Mysterious Lady's grand technique. Such a formidable mastery was beyond even Wukong's experience. However, the Demon King remained unshaken in the face of Mysterious Lady's divine general, maintaining his arrogant demeanor as always. Mysterious Lady looked at him and said, "Are you so calm? Do you really have enough confidence to confront my divine general?" Despite her mocking tone, the Demon King calmly replied, "You jest, my dear. When the master of the demon sword reveals their trump card, how could I possibly contend with it?" She questioned further, "Then why are you so composed?" To give her a satisfactory answer, he raised his arm, revealing ancient characters inscribed upon it. With these symbols glowing, the Demon King explained, "Why, of course, it's because I've prepared meticulously. In truth, I've been waiting for you to unleash this trump card for quite some time. Because the sooner you do, the quicker your defeat will come." Surprised by his words, Mysterious Lady asked, "What do you mean?" Immediately, the Demon King displayed mysterious characters swirling around him, each circle containing different cryptic symbols, ominous and foreboding. Upon witnessing his deceptive tactics, Mysterious Lady seemed to realize something, her expression turning pale with horror as she muttered, "Could it be?" Before she could finish her thought or say anything more, she noticed her own inscriptions glowing. Immediately after, she felt white bones piercing through her chest, surrounded by the swirling characters of the Demon King. Hao Xian and Wukong, witnessing this scene, gasped in shock, their mouths agape. They were stunned to realize that this figure was likely the mastermind behind the intricate scheme. The Demon King, with a smug grin, could barely contain his excitement. Hee, success. Yes, indeed, success, he exclaimed triumphantly. Then, unable to contain his twisted joy any longer, he burst into maniacal laughter. You didn't expect this, did you? I found the weakness of your trump card, your own essence, he continued, reveling in his revelation. Once the Divine General is formed, if its essence suffers any damage, it will collapse in defeat. With such a powerful Divine General protecting you, you may have thought you were invincible. But what if the attack comes from within? At this moment, Mysterious Lady's Divine General began to dissipate as her essence suffered a devastating blow. Sensing the dire situation, Hao Xian pondered for a moment and came to a conclusion. The reason lies with the two wretches captured earlier by Mysterious Lady. She stored them within her ring as prisoners, he deduced. With the Divine General collapsing and the suppression of the grand battle formation, how will you resist? He taunted, clenching his fist preparing to strike. He mercilessly pummeled Mysterious Lady's body, relentless in his assault. Do you feel how powerless you are standing before me? You're so weak now, unable to fight back, he jeered. You enjoy using your special divine weapon to punish evildoers, but what about my intelligence? How's that for the intelligence of Sword King Xeris? Even daring to claim to be the successor of the demon sword. It's laughable, he mocked. After enduring 18 punches from him, she was thrown off balance, unable to resist. Not stopping there, he seized Mysterious Lady's head, pressing it down towards the ground, taunting, you were so cocky just now, why can't you resist anymore? With those words, he exerted even more force with his dark powers, causing the ground to sink and crack around them. The relentless barrage of blows from this brutal Demon King upon Mysterious Lady inflicted countless wounds and bruises upon her body, yet she did not plead for mercy at all. She lay motionless on the ground, powerless, while the Demon King advanced and said to her, "Are you in pain? Do you regret it? Our clan members felt the same when they met your father that year." He tilted his head mockingly and taunted, not calling for help. "Do you want to die?" With that question, Mysterious Lady did not respond to him. Her eyes no longer held the determination they had earlier, now they were blank and resigned, refusing to endure further humiliation. Mysterious Lady spoke up, "I admit defeat. Finish me off, don't hesitate anymore." This episode concludes here, and I'll also hint to you that in episode 12, Neja makes an appearance in Hao Xian's cross-dressing guise. As for episode 13, a new experience card will appear. Can you guess who it might be? The Demon King laughed loudly, baring his sharp iron teeth and boasting, "Do you want me to kill you? There's no such thing, little one, it's not so easy. If I were to do that, wouldn't it be giving you too much of an advantage?" After saying this, he tightened his grip around Mysterious Lady's neck, his face twisted with malice. Mysterious Lady's face now appeared lifeless, her eyes devoid of resistance. Seeing this, the Demon King continued his taunts, "I must slowly torment you, just as your father did to our clan members back then. No, I'll be even more ruthless than he was to exact the revenge that has been brewing within me for so long." He continued to threaten in various ways. But Mysterious Lady remained indifferent. This indifference only further enraged him. He erupted in fury, shouting, "Don't act so indifferent as if you don't care about anything. You're afraid for me, admit it, admit that you're afraid." After ranting like a madman, he gathered his dark magic in his hands once again, intending to continue tormenting Mysterious Lady with his newfound idea. He said, "Or perhaps I'll start by disabling these two white legs of yours before I feast on you." As soon as he finished speaking, he struck down without any hesitation. His blow was extremely powerful, and the path the magical sphere took created a deep trench extending quite far. After the dust settled, he seemed puzzled. "Huh? What's this? Did I miss my target?" But shortly after, he realized it was impossible for him to miss at that distance. Furthermore, mysterious lady was no longer lying there. This thought led him to understand. Someone had rescued her. The Demon King became extremely angry and shouted, "Who dares to come out and face me?" Looking up, he was stunned by the scene. Another figure was carrying mysterious lady in their arms, surrounded by a swirling sea of fire. The overwhelming aura made the Demon King stagger. With two ponytails tied up and wielding this power, it could be none other than Hao Xian. He had successfully activated the peak-level experience card, or rather, Neja successfully transformed. Riding on the blazing wind fire wheels, Hao Xian looked at mysterious lady reproachfully. "You really are stubborn, aren't you? Even in the end, you refuse to seek help from others. You could have perished if I hadn't arrived in time. Instead, you stand there with a cold demeanor, oblivious to the value of your own life. If I hadn't made it in time, you would have died several times over." But instead of thanking or being moved, mysterious lady appeared shocked. Her eyes widened, her pupils constricted, and her face swelled like a pig's. This aura, did you just transform into Neja?" Mysterious lady was startled by Hao Xian's appearance. Neither fully male nor female. It looked incredibly strange. But what was particularly alarming was that she was being carried by another man, which made her even more frightened. Seeing her squirming like a fish out of water, he exclaimed loudly, "Can't you stop moving around aimlessly? I'm not very used to standing on this ring, you know. One wrong step and I could break my neck right now." At the same time, the Demon King also looked up to the sky and laughed heartily. "Haha, you indeed are not an ordinary mortal, little one. From the beginning, I suspected that no mortal would dare to witness this scene without a hint of fear. Finally, your true form is revealed," he exclaimed, pretending to be amused. However, deep down, the Demon King had different thoughts. "It's strange. Why didn't I sense any aura from him before?" he pondered. As soon as the thought crossed his mind, the Demon King hastily gathered his immense magical power and lunged at Hao Xian with the intent to deliver a fatal blow. Because he believed that this mysterious individual might be at a level beyond his comprehension. And his own body was weakened, he had to use all the remaining strength of his inner state to swiftly defeat him, even if it meant sacrificing himself. Swinging a powerful blow towards Hao Xian and mysterious lady, the Demon King thought that they would surely perish if hit by such an attack. However, the Demon King's attack came from behind Hao Xian, yet he remained unmoved like a mountain. Only mysterious lady turned her head, witnessing the ominous source of magic with a grave expression. Then mysterious lady shouted at Hao Xian, "This is the power of inner state. Ignore me and run away quickly before it's too late." Her words were both a response to his concern and an urging for him to flee. However, Hao Xian turned back with a gaze that seemed to say, "All beings are equal, all things are tranquil." He coldly told the Demon King, "You want to compare inner states? Fine, let me show you what true inner state is." As soon as he finished speaking, a pillar of light descended from the sky straight onto the kingdom of women. The terrifying tremor and dazzling brilliance of this event could be seen from thousands of miles away. Mysterious lady was once again horrified. Unable to believe what she was seeing, while Wukong remained unsurprised, having unwavering faith in his master's strength. He knew that his master was powerful, unlike his seemingly weak appearance without cultivation like an ordinary mortal. In the distant forest, even the small demon beasts felt the terror of this overwhelming force. Two young demon beasts, inexperienced in the ways of the world, trembled in fear, their bodies quivering uncontrollably. Back to the scene where Hao Xian stood, he had summoned his divine general. A divine general with 3 heads and 6 wings appeared as if materialized from nothingness. This was the true manifestation of inner state. Hao Xian's body was now shining brightly like an immortal human, and he looked down at mysterious lady with a cold demeanor. However, the one most horrified at this moment was the Demon King. He was so terrified that he almost fainted, unable to believe the truth before his eyes. Trembling with fear, he stammered, "You, how could you?" He couldn't say anything more as fear gripped him so strongly that his tongue seemed to stick to his palate. The longer he looked, the more terrified he became, feeling like crying in sheer terror. The Demon King, known for his extreme cruelty and ruthlessness, was now reduced to a trembling mess on the ground, unable to stand. Seeing him in such a state, Hao Xian displayed a surge of killing intent and said mockingly, "What's wrong with you? Can't speak now? Speak up a bit, I'm all ears." The Demon King had been silent for a while, unable to utter a word, just staring and staring, his eyes wide with shock. In its previous life, the Demon King was a giant sea serpent that preyed on creatures in the vast ocean. In an unnamed fish pond, it swam in search of food. Its massive body, sharp teeth, thick steel-like scales, and sharp spikes all over its back made it appear ferocious. Other small fish in the pond either fled upon seeing it or became its meal. Those unlucky enough to be caught by the Demon King met a swift demise. Even rulers from other domains couldn't escape its lethal jaws. In its presence, death was inevitable. The battle between the sea creatures began, and the overwhelming victory belonged to the ocean serpent with its devastating strike. Gradually, it became an existence that other small fish dared not challenge, instilling fear in all who encountered it. Over time, the food chain reinforced its belief that it was the strongest being in the world. Then, one day, a powerful storm struck, sweeping away the entire pond into the clouds. For the first time in its life, the sea serpent beheld the vastness of the earth and sky. The boundless expanse seemed infinite, and it felt like a tiny speck in this vast universe. Even other true demon kings and rulers were astonished like it was. At that time, it harbored doubts for a long time, only truly awakening to the scene when it was rudely awakened. But now, even though a long time had passed since then, it still made the Demon King recall the desperation and insignificance of its previous life, and the humiliation it had considered its own righteousness. Now, the Demon King was kneeling on the ground, trembling, and dared not move. He pleaded, "Great Lord, I surrender. I beg for your mercy. In this life, I am willing to serve you obediently, no matter what you command." He spoke each word humbly, without a hint of arrogance, sweating profusely with fear. Hearing this, Hao Xian was furious. He thought to himself, what nonsense surrender is this? Are all my experience cards wasted like this? You haven't even fought yet, and you're already surrendering? Enraged, he grabbed the Demon King's collar and shouted, "Stop spouting nonsense, little girl. Get up and fight me now." The Demon King, upon hearing this, was terrified. He stammered, "I dare not. I am just a tiny ant in front of the great lord. How could I dare to strike?" But Hao Xian kept pressing the Demon King, asking, "Are you going to fight me now?" He then pressed his hand against the Demon King's head, causing him to wince in pain. However, the Demon King had no courage left to fight, knowing the overwhelming difference in strength. It was like hitting a stone with an egg. Witnessing this scene, Mysterious Lady was also stunned. It was unclear what she was thinking or if she was still in shock from Hao Xian's power. But perhaps she saw the unbelievable strength of Neja's peak form that Hao Xian was experiencing. She remained stunned for a long time, gazing at his power. Meanwhile, Hao Xian acted like an immature youngster constantly taunting the Demon King to fight. However, Mysterious Lady could only feel that level of power in one person. That person was her father. Since she was young and gained awareness of this world, Mysterious Lady had followed her father to harsh places for cultivation. Such towering figures left a lasting impression on her, but they always remained distant, never allowing her to get too close, even in daily life. Father told her that solitude is the most important trait of the strong. Even in the face of pain and discomfort to the point of incomprehensibility, weakness is not allowed. Yet she always believed in her father. One day, they walked through a snowy forest together. Just like any other day, the little girl followed her father in their cultivation journey, maintaining that distance. Suddenly, she heard a noise in the nearby bushes and decided to investigate. In the bushes, a small and adorable fox appeared, looking at her. Curiosity towards cute things is natural for any child, and the little fox seemed to like her too. It happily bounded towards Mysterious Lady, gently touching her with its tiny nose. It was the first time Mysterious Lady had such intimate contact with another life, a nameless emotion flooding her heart, but in the next second, another large foot suddenly descended, ruthlessly crushing the small fox. This scene unfolded before Mysterious Lady's eyes, leaving her stunned. Her father also asked, "What are you doing? Do you want to adopt it like those inferior humans? Answer me." Under her father's interrogation, Mysterious Lady could only hold back her tears and apologize. He turned away, saying, "Remember that solitude and aloofness are the best paths to greatness." However, her father turned back with a cold gaze and said, "No, it should be uniqueness that is truly right." Mysterious Lady couldn't adapt to the situation, feeling a strange sensation that came and went, leaving her desolate. Since that day, young Mysterious Lady dared not approach or interact with any other living beings. Day after day, year after year, on the vast plain, the small figure remained lonely. Her father's words were truly never wrong. She indeed quickly grew stronger, from being adorable to gradually developing a blank expression, then transforming into a sharp, cold gaze like her father's, as if she had lost something in her subconscious, which she now saw. Looking at the extraordinary man before her, while she pondered over the past and present. So on this side, Hao Xian continued to provoke the Demon King to fight. He went from taunting to cursing, nodding his head, even squeezing his neck, yet the Demon King didn't resist. It wasn't that the Demon King suddenly turned docile or became a vegetarian, it was simply because he lacked the courage to fight at this moment. But in Mysterious Lady's eyes, Hao Xian clearly exhibited the condescending attitude her father had spoken of, yet possessed strength no less than her father's. For the first time in her life, Mysterious Lady began to doubt her great father, so she made a momentous decision right then and there. She advanced towards where Hao Xian was confronting the Demon King. Hao Xian, in a fit of rage, was gripping the Demon King's throat, frothing at the mouth. "How dare you waste my card? I'll teach you a lesson, you damned fool." Mysterious Lady stood behind, unsure of what to say, stammering, Hearing her voice, Hao Xian turned to see what was happening. Mysterious Lady, feeling embarrassed, said, "Can you accept me as your disciple?" Hearing this, Hao Xian was dumbfounded. "What?" he asked incredulously. He hadn't done anything to her, so why would she suddenly want to become his disciple? Suddenly, the system announced, there has been a significant change in Mysterious Lady's worldview. Her potential value has increased by 35%. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. Your reward is one Peak King of Hell experience card. Hao Xian cheered wildly as he held up the card. Another emergency lifeline charm. But then he remembered that he hadn't done much since opening the Naja card. The Demon King had surrendered out of the blue, followed by Mysterious Lady wanting to become his disciple, and then the mission was suddenly completed. "Wait, what's going on, system?" Hao Xian demanded. "Explain this to me. You're making me feel a bit foolish here," and with that, the story comes to an end. See you in the next episodes, folks. Don't forget to subscribe and like to support me. Hello everyone, welcome to episodes 15 and 16 of this comedy series. In the capital city's Earth Mansion, where dark energy accumulated to create an eerie atmosphere, in the lower hall of the palace, the young master of the Earth Mansion held a gemstone in his hand and presented it to his subordinate. He unleashed a powerful surge of spiritual energy with his magical technique, causing the subordinate to break out in a sweat. He then used his cold gaze to focus the energy onto the gemstone in his hand, illuminating a corner with a beam of light, but upon inspection, the gemstone had developed cracks. The subordinate was astonished and had to squint to confirm what he was seeing. He exclaimed, "Oh my, young master, you've managed to crack the dragon pearl with just your pressure alone. It's truly incredible." This is the hardest natural material in the underworld. With your power, you could easily rank among the top 100 in the martial arts ranking, the young prince replied modestly. How could that be possible? A small fry like me could never compare to the great figures in the heavenly place. But at least I won't be punished anymore, which is quite a relief. As they were chatting, the subordinates suddenly froze, signaling to the young master, who failed to notice someone approaching from behind. The burly man stepped up behind him and interrogated, "What are you laughing at? Finding this amusing?" The young prince lowered his face solemnly and replied, "It's nothing, father." He then ordered his servant to bring the gemstone and sternly said, "This is the thing you dare to boast about?" He crushed the gemstone in front of the young prince and continued in a severe tone, "Is that all you've got?" The young prince's face showed a hint of sadness as he nervously rubbed his sleeve. When he didn't respond, the man grew furious, raising his fist and lunging towards him, saying, "I'm asking you, do you still think you're so great?" The punch struck his face mercilessly, sending him flying and crashing into the wall with a loud crash. The young prince sat heavily on the ground, struggling to get up, the spot where he had been sitting now a gaping hole from the impact. He was then grabbed by the neck and shaken in fear by his father, who spoke coldly, "Let me remind you, someone with your mediocre talent, no matter how hard you try, will only ever reach grade 3, never grade 9. After saying this, he threw him to the ground and walked away. Before leaving, he sneered, 10 days of confinement should sober you up, you useless waste." The young prince lay curled up on the ground and softly responded to his father, "Yes, father." The scene shifted to a temporary military camp in the mountains, where two guards whispered to each other in the forest. "It's really breaking the rules for nothing. Just to take a leak and we have to go 3 miles away from the camp," said the scar-faced bald soldier coldly. The other soldier, with a long-haired scalp, replied, "Let's talk less, dragon flag. Our army dominates the world not just because of strict discipline, right?" Suddenly, both of them startled as they saw a mysterious bottle of wine rolling towards them. Curious, they looked inside and heard sounds. "What's this sound?" whispered the soldier with long hair. Upon closer inspection, they saw countless terrifying faces inside the bottle, causing the soldier with long hair to scream in fear, "Ah, what is this?" The scar-faced bald soldier tried to calm the other, saying, "Nothing to be surprised about," as he examined the bottle and confidently asserted, "It must be the work of some idol cult." Suddenly, a mysterious purple air split the face of the bald soldier in half. The soldier with long hair turned around and was horrified to see numerous giant figures surrounding him. His face turned pale, devoid of any trace of blood, as he shouted, "What kind of creatures are you?" After the soldier's hoarse cry, only a corpse remained with a pool of fresh blood under the night sky. 10 days later, outside the low mountain, 2 figures could be faintly seen. After rescuing the king and people of the kingdom of women, Hao Xian had to flee all night because the entire city sought to repay his kindness, but Hao Xian alone couldn't handle it all. He showed unhappiness as life without love made him feel miserable. Hao Xian expressed his frustration in front of Mysterious Lady, "Damn it, it's not over yet." On the journey, for some unknown reason, the little monkey king not only couldn't recover but also fell into a deep sleep. In other words, during these days of the journey, there were only 2 people, Hao Xian and Mysterious Lady. Hao Xian approached Mysterious Lady and jokingly asked, "Mysterious Lady, besides martial arts, do you have any other special talents?" Mysterious Lady calmly replied, "No, I only know martial arts." Hao Xian tried to make Mysterious Lady show a hint of fear as he said, "So, do you have any happy memories from the past?" She hesitated and replied, "I'm sorry, I only train in martial arts every day." Hearing her response, Hao Xian awkwardly chuckled and said, "Well then, tell me about something you're interested in, let's chat." Mysterious Lady shyly reiterated that her interest was solely in martial arts. The two walked together in an awkward atmosphere, but soon they arrived at a desolate place. Hao Xian panicked and shouted, "Wake up, little monkey, don't scare me to death," as he held the little monkey in his arms. Hao Xian thought to himself, the kid shouldn't have any problems. But why is he just unconscious? His vital signs seem normal. Hao Xian looked at his hand and silently prayed. What was even stranger was that ever since he used the card twice, a vague source of power had begun to emerge within his body. This power felt familiar, as if it belonged to him. While pondering, he was suddenly pulled out of his thoughts by the system's announcement, "Target area reached." Looking at the desolate landscape before him, Hao Xian whispered to himself, "Finally, we're here. Why is the king of hell in the mortal army?" After that, Hao Xian's group proceeded to this battlefield and immediately noticed that everywhere were corpses. Each of them seemed to have their life force drained, rather than being casualties of combat. Hao Xian looked down with a grim expression, feeling a sense of dread as he witnessed the scene of bodies scattered all around the camp. These corpses all seemed to have died in a similar manner, which made everything even more unsettling. Hao Xian was horrified by what he saw and wondered, has there been some kind of war here? Mysterious Lady also walked around, examining the situation. She then noticed the thick aura in the air and remarked, "What is going on here? Even under normal circumstances, people wouldn't die like this." At this moment, the system also informed Hao Xian that the King of Hell was not currently in the camp. Without hesitation, the two continued on their way. Hao Xian and Mysterious Lady arrived at a forest and stopped in front of a tomb. There was a stone tablet at the entrance of the tomb with an inscription that read, "The residence of the King of Hell is here." After reading that inscription, Hao Xian was horrified. He trembled as he spoke each word. Could it be, in this tomb? Hao Xian was overcome with fear, sitting down on the ground, shivering. The reason for his intense fear stemmed from his childhood experience of watching a terrifying horror movie for 180 minutes, which left a lasting impression of horror and dread. The movie featured scenes of monstrous creatures, giant cockroaches, dancing zombies, and slithering snakes. Just thinking about it made him feel so scared that he lay helpless on the ground, crying uncontrollably, "I don't want to go in there. But if I don't complete the mission, I'll lose my life. Oh, Mother, I want to go back to Earth, where I can eat salad and watch TV all day." Tears streamed down his face, feeling like there was no other option. Seeing Hao Xian's continuously changing and trembling expression, Mysterious Lady found it strange and approached him, asking, "Master, why are you so frightened?" Suddenly being asked a question felt like a bolt from the blue, and he stood frozen for a few seconds, sweat pouring down his forehead. It was then that Hao Xian realized he had been too scared and let his disciple see it, causing suspicion. In that decisive moment, Hao Xian used his boundless intelligence to bluff, "Aha, how could I possibly be scared? I'm just joking. Master is so powerful that it's boring, so I like to act dramatic to liven up the atmosphere and avoid boredom. Just ignore my expressions, haha." Hearing this, Mysterious Lady believed him wholeheartedly. Being inherently honest and not suspecting those around her, she fell for his clever deception. Not only that, but Mysterious Lady also praised, "The master truly lives up to his reputation. This behavior is truly strange and difficult to understand." Then she said, "Let me lead the way then," and promptly entered the cave inside the tomb. Seeing Mysterious Lady moving away from him, Hao Xian panicked and ran after her. Hey, slow down. Don't go too far from the master." Once inside, the darkness was as thick as ink, and there was no sound, making the surroundings incredibly eerie and cold. Hao Xian was so afraid that he stuck close to Mysterious Lady as they walked. His face turned pale, and he thought to himself, "This underground space is so vast, just like what was written in the lost tomb, isn't it?" Seeing Hao Xian's pitiful expression, Mysterious Lady secretly admired her master, praising his acting skills. "My master is truly a master. If I hadn't known in advance, I would have really thought my master was clueless." However, it must be said that the atmosphere here was becoming increasingly oppressive, making everyone uncomfortable. Mysterious Lady's face also grew solemn as a result. Suddenly, there was a clang sound in the quiet space, startling Hao Xian. He turned to look, his heart racing with fear. Meanwhile, mysterious lady stood there calmly, observing her master's performance with satisfaction and pride. Hao Xian continued to ponder the sound he had just heard, not knowing what it was but feeling a chill run down his spine upon hearing it again. He kept his eyes fixed in that direction, his lips tightly pressed together. Then, a frog jumped out from that spot, and he breathed a sigh of relief at the sight. Hao Xian breathed a sigh of relief, his spirits lifting. Wow, it's just a green frog. It scared me out of my wits. Venturing into these places is really putting our little family's safety on the line, he said nonchalantly. However, behind him, there loomed a dark mass, with giant supernatural creatures roaring ferociously. Unaware of the danger, Hao Xian continued, the danger seems to have been averted. No need to worry anymore, that's great. Sensing something, mysterious lady's face darkened. Feeling a chill down his spine, Hao Xian turned around, freezing in place. His face dumbfounded, he muttered, "Oh, it's just a rural river." Observing this scene, mysterious lady remained vigilant. Thinking to herself, these are all beast-level demons. What kind of supernatural phenomenon is happening here? Creatures from the earth realm can't just appear in the mortal realm. Something must be terribly wrong somewhere. As the ferocious beasts howled, emitting sounds of hunger and thirst from ancient times, Hao Xian regained some semblance of composure and bolted for his life, clutching Wukong tightly, fear driving him like the wind. But those beasts weren't going to let him go so easily. They hurled purple energy coils that wrapped around Hao Xian's body, leaving him helpless as he cried out, "Help! I'm going to die." Help! Meanwhile, one of the beasts was opening its mouth wide, ready to devour him. Mysterious lady, watching from below, remained remarkably calm. Remembering the earlier conversation where her master had assured her it was all just a playful act, she decided to trust him and replied with a sunny smile, "It's okay, master. You're strong, you're probably just playing around with those guys." Seeing her naive smile, Hao Xian's anger flared, and he shouted, "Hey! Why are you so calm? I'm about to die. Hurry up and save me. Do you want to let that thing swallow, master? Hurry, save me." Despite his desperate pleas and flailing, the creature's mouth was wide enough to swallow a dozen like him. Hao Xian, feeling utterly helpless, cried his heart out and said to himself, "I'm done for. This time, I'm truly done for. Of all people, I had to encounter such a clueless disciple. My life is over." I've said it before, this world is extremely dangerous. Stepping outside is like playing with death. His lamentations echoed, but there was no response. Wukong lay motionless below, still not awakening. Suddenly, Wukong's eyes emitted a dazzling light.